Hello. In this video, we're going to talk all about electronic tuners. From clip-on headstock tuners to the tuning app on your phone, or even a reference tone on the metronome, we're going to walk you through the differences between them, how to use them, and then we'll talk a little bit about accuracy and whether you should use one. So, tune in. Tuning is an essential part of playing the guitar. While an in-tune guitar will not necessarily make your performances sound better, an out-of-tune guitar can spoil even the best of performances. So it's an extremely important skill to learn. And it is a skill. It requires time, patience, and practice to develop. This particular skill requires the use of the ear, and you may have heard the term tuning by ear. Well, until your ear has developed enough that you can sort of refine the use of the ear to hear the differences between pitches on the guitar, the tuner, and especially the electronic tuner, I have one here on my guitar, can be quite handy. But how do you use them, and what are the differences between them? Well, let's take a look. Now, one of the most universally available tuners that you have at your disposal is on your cell phone. You can download a number of apps on a cell phone for both Android and iOS. This one is called Clear Tune. It's an excellent little tuning app. It's quite accurate, actually, and it's really easy to use. So I'm going to put up the interface on the screen so you can see it right now. And you'll see a needle at the top, which either goes to the left or to the right. You'll see the flat sign to the left, so if I tune down, now I'm in the flat zone, and if I tune up above the pitch, now I'm in the sharp zone. And when you tune right on the pitch, the needle lines up right at 0. And then below that, you'll see a wheel with the names of the pitches. So right now, it's reading E, which is the correct pitch name for the first string, and the green arrow is lined right up with the E, which means I'm in tune. So you have two different ways of identifying whether you're in tune. And when the needle goes to the left, you'll see it moves toward E flat. And when it goes to the right, you'll see it moves toward F. So if it's toward F, you're sharp and you need to lower the pitch down to E. And if it's to the left toward E flat, you need to raise the pitch so that you're in tune at E. And that's really all there is to it. There is a downside, however. Because the tuning app on your phone uses the microphone on your phone to discern the pitch, if you're in an ensemble situation, for instance, maybe playing with your guitar orchestra or with a duet partner, the app will have a very difficult time discerning the difference between the sound from the other instruments and your own instrument. So while I'm talking here and trying to tune my E string, you'll notice that the pitch keeps jumping around. After I strike the string and I keep talking, the needle is picking up the vibrations of my voice. So it's not entirely reliable in an ensemble situation. For that kind of situation, you need a tuner that will only pick up the vibration of your own instrument. For that, we need the clip-on headstock tuner. Now, these clip-on headstock tuners are quite handy. They use these little piezo microphones that are located on these rubber clamps, and when you clip the tuner to your headstock, it picks up the vibrations of your instrument, sends it to the tuner, and it rejects external noise, like the other instruments in your guitar orchestra. So the way that they work is quite simple. This first one, the Snark clip-on headstock tuner, uses a readout with a pitch name in the middle, in this case E for the first string, and if you're sharp, the lines turn yellow, and if you're flat, the lines turn red. So when you're flat, you have to tune up to pitch, and when you're in pitch, you'll see a bluish green line in the middle, just like that. If you're sharp, it's yellow and you have to come down to pitch. And again, when you reach that bluish green line and there's no movement on either side of the bluish green line, then you're in tune. And that's the Snark. Now, this Peterson strobo tuner is a little bit different. Strobo tuners are said to be within about 1/10 of a cent in terms of accuracy. We won't get into cents and what all that means, but they can be quite useful tuners. But the design, the interface, is a little bit different. Instead of using lines and a needle that shows to the left or to the right, whether you're in tune, the wheel moves faster when you're out of tune, and it slows down the closer you get to in tune, until finally it stops moving altogether when you're exactly in tune. Now I've got a third tuner here on the back. This is the D'Addario NS Micro Tuner, and all that you see on the front is just this little strip. It's by far the most discreet of the clip-on headstock tuners, and the display is on the back of the headstock here. So it's really quite handy so that the performer can just look behind the headstock and it's not obtrusive out in the front. And it works in a very similar way to the Snark. And that's all there is to clip-on headstock tuners. So clip-on headstock tuners are really handy and they're useful in situations that are noisy, but they do use batteries. So just like the cell phone, your batteries might die, and what do you do in that situation? That's when you use the tuning fork. Now, these little devices are really handy, and if you've never used one, they're tuned usually to A at 440 Hertz. That would be that note, or first string, 5th fret A. And you always want to hold a tuning fork by the little rubber handle. If you hold it even just a little bit here, you won't be able to hear it as clearly. Whereas if you hold it by the handle, you'll get a nice clear tone. Now, when you're using the tuning fork on the guitar, I found that it's always best, instead of putting it on the top, first strike it against a firm surface, not against your guitar. I find that my knee works best. So strike it against a firm surface, and then instead of placing it on the top, place it on the bridge. You'll get a much clearer sound. The bridge is the device that transfers energy. So the vibrating strings are transferred through the bridge to the top to produce the vibration of air and give you sound. So the bridge is the best place to put the tuning fork to get a nice clear sound. But the problem with the tuning fork is, as soon as you take it away, it stops ringing. And so you have to put it there, play the note, strike it again, put it back, and continue so that you can compare the two different tones. So another solution, and this again requires batteries, is to use a metronome. Either on your phone, you can use a metronome app, or if you have an old Seiko metronome like mine that's probably at least 20 years old, there's a little button right at the bottom that says A4, and if you set that there, you get A at 440 Hertz. And the advantage here is it will keep ringing so that you can compare your tone to the ringing metronome reference tone. So if you run out of batteries, use your tuning fork, and if you just want to learn to tune by ear, then maybe start with the metronome reference tone. So another question to deal with is, how accurate are all of these different tuners? And the answer is, they're really quite accurate. Electronic tuners have come a long way. 10, 20 years ago even, when headstock tuners, for instance, first came on the market, they weren't very good. The first IntelliTouch tuner was okay, and it was a magical design, but it wasn't very accurate. However, with each iteration, new tuners are more and more accurate, and they really can be relied on. Especially with equal temperament, these are really good, handy solutions. They aren't perfect, and it does pay off to use your ear, so you shouldn't always rely on an external device to tune. Eventually, you do want to develop your ear. That's the goal. But a tuner is a great thing to have in a pinch until you're really comfortable tuning by ear. So be confident that your tuner should be pretty accurate enough to get your guitar in tune. So thanks for tuning in, and sorry for the bad puns, but I really appreciate you stopping by. And if you'd like to learn more about classical guitar, we have a whole curriculum full of courses and lessons and videos where Simon Powis, who is the director and the founder of Classical Guitar Corner Academy, can walk you through how to play classical guitar. So if you're interested, please visit the link in the description. Thanks and take care. I'll see you in the next video.